In this video, I'm going to go through on Methodist Girls School Primary 5 Math Weighted Assessment 3, 2024. So let's get started on the first question, which is this question. What is 80 kg, 35 grams in kilograms? All right, so let's do a bit of a recap. So we know that 1 kg, right? Or just to give a recap, 1 kg is 1,000 grams, not 100,000. And then we can do the reverse, where 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. 1 gram is equal to 1, and then divide it by 1,000 equal to 0.001 kilogram. Okay, so in essence, we want to convert 35 grams into kilograms. So that means 35 grams is equal to 35 divided by 1,000. Okay, and this will equal to 0.035. So how do you know this is the correct answer? So first of all, make sure to know how many number of zeros there are. So there's 1, 2, 3 zeros. Next step is you move your decimal point over here. Okay, so you move 3 times. Okay, so you move it 1, 2, and then 3. So your decimal point will move 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that means, okay, if I were to make it a little bit easier to see, right, so I'm going to put this over here. So your decimal points start at the end. So you move 1, 2, and then 3, right? So this is where it stops. So there are spaces as well, right? Oops, there are spaces as well. So that means you need to put zeros. Okay, so you put 0 over here, and then you put 0 over here. Okay, and that's when you know this is the correct answer. All right, so now you know that 35 grams is 0.035. So in this case, 80 kilograms. Okay, 80 kilograms and 35 grams is equal to 80 kilograms, 0.035 kilograms. And this over here, oops, the answer is number 1, 80.035 kilograms. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 2. What is the value of 40 divided by 2,000? Not 20,000, 2,000. Okay, so what we can do is we can actually minus off the zeros. Okay, so first thing first, I'm the realist. I don't know if you guys know that song, but okay, so I'm gonna cancel the 0 over here and the 0 over here. Whoops. Okay, the 0 over here as well. So that means this will become 4, right, divided by 200. Okay, so this is also the same as 4, right? Okay, yeah, okay, so this is the same as 4 divided by 2 divided by 100, because 2 times 100 is 200, right? So it's divided by 100 as well. So that's why we can do this as well. Okay, so what we can do is we can in a way do this. So 4 divided by 2, what is it equal to? So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and we divide it by 100. Okay, divided by 100. So if I were to look at the number 102, right? So I have my decimal place again here, right? So 100 is 2 zeros. We're going to move 1 and 2. So the decimal place will move over here, and then we'll put a 0 just before the decimal place. So this means this will become 0.02. Okay, so with this, the answer is number 3 in this case over here. Alrighty. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 3. Whoopsie, beep, beep, beep. Okay, question number 3 over here. It says in the figure, as V is the base of the triangle SVT. So SV over here is the base of the triangle SVT. So what's the corresponding height? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the base as red. Okay, so it's easier for everyone to see. Yes, what you see over here. And what is the triangle that we want to look at, which is this SVT. Oops. So I want to create a line that is in green, SV, and then T. SVT. I love bubble tea. All right, so SVT over here. Okay, so what is the corresponding height? Okay, since the base is the rate, the corresponding height is always the perpendicular point to the base. So which line is perpendicular? If your answer is this, xt over here, then you are right. Very, very good. So the answer to this question is xt. So number one as well. Okay, so that's it. All right. Okay, so yeah, if the base is here, perpendicular should be straight across, and make sure it's right angle as well. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 4. Okay, so tap can fill 10 identical bottles with water in 2 minutes. At this rate, how many such bottles can fill in 5 minutes? Okay, so what we can do is we can say in 2 minutes, okay, or 2 minutes, right, is 10 bottles. So 1 mint is 10, right? And then divide it by 2 equal to 5. And then 5 minutes is equal to 5 times 5, which is 25. So the answer to question 4 is option 3, which is 25. Okay, let's move on to question 5. All right, so over here it says in the square grid below, P is a square, Q is an obtuse triangle, and R is a right angle triangle. So arrange P, Q, and R from the smallest area to the largest area. Okay, so we have some square grids over here. So what we're gonna measure the areas. Okay, so first we need to get length, right? For the square, essentially what we can do is one of the leg is 3 square long. Okay, so that means the area, okay, area of P, area P is equal to 3 times 3 equal to 9. Okay, so area P is 9. Okay, let's go to Q. So Q, we have the base over here, which is in this case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5. Okay, and then we also want to know the height of Q. Okay, in this case, which is this one over here as well, right? So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead of 5, this should be 4. So we don't count this middle one, right? So it's 4 times 5. So area Q, let me just put it like this. Okay, area Q. Since this is a triangle, so area Q is basically half times 4 times 5. Okay, so half times 4 times 5. So half of 4 is basically 2. So 2 times 5, this will become 10. Right? Okay, then the last one is R. So R is a right angle triangle. So let's measure the base and the height. Half times base times height. So in this case, how many is the base? 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, this is 4. And how much is the height? Let's see if this is the same. So the height is also 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that means for area R is half. Oops. Area R is half times 4 times 4. Okay, so half times 4 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8 in this case. So now we know all the areas for all of the different figures over here. We want to start with the smallest. The smallest should be R. Oh, since there's only one option with the smallest R, the answer to this question is this one, number 2. So R, P, Q. So let's double check. P is middle, which is 9, correct? And Q is the largest, which is 10. All right, so for question number 5, the answer is number 2. Let's move on to question number 6. Okay, question number 6 says the bar graph shows City's savings from January to May. What is the average savings from January to May? Right, so from January to May, we have all of the different savings. March, apparently, she was balling, but the other ones, not really. So we want to go and calculate each of the month's savings. So what we can do is, okay, let's write down, okay, how much. So for January it's $20, pretty straightforward because over here is just 20. For February, this is $10. For March, this is You guessed it, $25. Okay, so 25. And then April is sadly 0, kosong, tak ada, 0. And then May over here, this is 5. Okay, over here. All right, so let's get basically the average savings, right? The average saving from January to May. So average savings, the thing is basically total, and then we divide it by number of months. Okay, average monthly savings, right? So in this case, we want to get a total. So for the total, we just add all of the numbers up. So 20, so I'm going to push this down, 20, 10, 25, 0, and 5. Okay, so in this case, the total will be 20 plus 10 plus 25 plus 0 plus 5, and this will give us 20 plus 10 is 30, 25 plus 5 is 30, so this will be $60. Okay, so what is the number of months? Basically from January to May, right? So let's count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so in this case, the number of months is 5. And lastly, oops, the average monthly savings will become total, which is 60. And then we divide it by 5. Okay, oops, 5. This will give us $12. Okay, so I'm going to put this below so that it's easier for everyone to see. Okay, there you go. All right, there you go. That's the answer. The answer is $12. So in this case, option 1 is the correct answer. Okay, let's move on to the last MCQ. Okay, the last MCQ says here in the number line below, A represented 1/4, C represents 1.45, and AB is 3 times of BC. So what is the value represented of BC? Okay, so from here, a very unique question, I would say. So from A to B, AB is 3 times of BC, so that means this is 3 units. And then for BC, right, this is 1 unit. From here, are you able to get the answer? Yes, you can. So first is that we want to convert this 1/4 to a decimal. Okay, so this, let me put here, is equal to, right? So 1/4 in this case, it's gonna be it's gonna be a bit small, but times 25 over here for 1/4, because we want to get into the fraction out of 100, right? So we want to get a fraction of 100. Okay, so I'm gonna add this on top. Okay, like this, right? So since we multiply 25 with the decimal 4, with the denominator 4, we also multiply the numerator as well. So 1 times 25 equal to 25. All right, so that means 25 of 100. You can also divide it as using your workings, but I'm gonna do this because this is much easier. So in this case, right, 25 divided by 100 is actually 0.25. Okay, in this case, so I'm gonna put it equal to 0.25 in this case. Right, so 1/4 is 0.25. So now we know that 1/4 of A is 0.25. So A is here 0.25. Okay, and then we know C is 1.45. Okay, and we know in between them is 5 units, right? So what we're gonna do is we say 3U plus no 4 units. So 3U plus 1 unit. So this is like in a way gaps, right? 4 units, right? So in this case, 4 units is equal to, then we just minus 1.45 minus, minus 0.25, and this will give us, okay, pretty straightforward, 1.20. Okay, so 1, okay, this 4 units. Okay, so 1 unit will become, so 145 minus 0.25 is equal to 120. We divide by 1 unit, so it's basically divided by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is basically 0.3. So that's 1 unit. Okay, so now we know that 1 unit is 0.3. We don't need to put this as well. Okay, so that means B over here, what's the value of B? we can just reverse. So 45. So B is equal to 1.45 minus 1 unit. In this case is 0.3, right? So if I were to do the whole thing, 1 unit, okay lah, can just minus 0.3, okay, or 30, okay, so it's easier to calculate this. And from here, we can say it is 1.15, okay, so I'm just going to put 0 here, so it's easier to follow. Okay, so that means when we move back 1, let me put the arrow down here with this on the other side, actually, the arrow. Okay, so that means if we go this way, we minus 0.3. And there you go. So the answer to B is 1.15 in this case over here. So the answer to this is option number 2. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 8. Okay, question number 8 says here, find the value of 0.35 times 600. Give your answer as a decimal. So what we can do is, in this, 0.35 is equal to, okay, 0.35 and then times. So 6 is basically 6 times 100. Okay, so at this, yeah, then at the same time, what we can do is you can just times this 0.35, right? But also in a way, yeah, let's do that. Okay, in essence, what we're going to do is, okay, another way to do this is actually 0.35. It's a fraction, right? Okay, but never mind, let's do the 0.35 working. 0.35 and then we multiply by 6. Okay, I'm gonna do this here. All right, so I'm gonna put the line. Okay, so 0.35 times 6, right? I'm gonna put the line very close to the 6. Okay, so 5 times 6, let's zoom this in. 5 times 6 is 30, so 0. And then we're gonna put 3 at the top here. Right, 3 times 6 is 18 plus 3, right? This will be 21, 1, okay, dot. And then we're gonna put 2 here. Okay, so 3 times 6 is 18 plus 3 is 21, 1 here. 0 times 6 is 0, and then this is 2. Okay, 2.10. All right, so this will become 2.10 times 100. Okay, and since we just put 100, the answer to this will be, we move the decimal point 2 times, right? This will become 210 lah. Okay, so the answer is 210. Okay, right. Okay, there you go, 210. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 9. It says here, a machine can weave 10 meters of clothes in 40 minutes. What is the length of cloth that it can produce per minute? So what we can do is, we can write down saying 40 minutes. Okay, it can produce 10 meters. Okay, then what we want to do is we want to get per minute. So 1 minute is basically 10 meters divided by 40. Okay, in this case, you can either put 1 over 4 meters, because it doesn't really specify which to give in fractions or decimal. 1.4 meters is acceptable, or we can divide 1 divided by 4 lah, right? So in essence, if you were to have the fraction 1 over 4 meters is okay, or we want to do the workings of 1 divided by 4. So usually if you've done this kind of workings, this kind of workings where you have 1 divided by 4, right? So essentially, let's put the number 1, right? 10, I mean 10 divided by 40 is the same as 1 divided by 4. Okay. So I think the best way is to just put here 1 over 4, right? Put a line. Okay, so 10 out of 40, right? Do the workings here, right? 10 out of 40 is the same as 1 over 4, right? So I'm just going to remove 1 and then 4, and then we have this thing like this. Also, it's the same as, I think earlier we did this before, the 1 over 4 thing earlier here, right? So 1 over 4, remember what's the thing over here? It's 25 out of 100. Okay, so in this case, 1 over 4 is also 25 out of 100. So 25 out of 100. Again, I'm going to just grab this 2. All right. Oops. Okay, I'm going to remove this. Right. So times 25. And essentially, this will give us, in this case, 0.25. Okay. So it's either 1.4 meters or 0.25 oops meters. Okay, so this can be the answer. So 1 over 4 or 0.25. Okay, it doesn't state. So the easy one obviously is just 1 over 4 lah, right? 10 over 4 is 1 over 4. By the way, this works as well. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 10. Okay, question number 10. Find triangle ABC is shown as 1 centimeter square grid below. Find its area. Right. So how do we find this kind of what do you call this area? So technically ABC, we don't really know what is the area, but we know the thing is we know there is a rectangle, and also we have different rectangles here as well. So if you minus this triangle. So if you minus this 3 triangle, we can get the area of this triangle as well. Okay, so let's do that. So in this case, let's measure the length for each what do you call this? Triangle. So we have this. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 5. So let's measure the rectangle. So it's 5 cm, and then this is 5 cm, and then the other uh, length times breadth. So for this side, I'm gonna put it here. So it's gonna be one. Oops, I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this will be 4 centimeters. All right. Okay, so then we want to calculate the different what do you call this? Triangles, right? So to be honest, right, I'm gonna share with you the shortest way to do this, but I'm gonna do the longer way first. Okay, so 2 cm, right? So this is also 2 cm. Okay, and for this is also 2 cm, and for this is 3 cm. Okay, in this sense over here, right? So 2 cm, 3 cm, all of this. Okay, so the longer way is basically area of rectangle is equal to 4 times 5, whoops, equal to 20 centimeter square. Okay, I'll just square like this. Okay, so now we get the 3 triangles. So let's name each of the triangle. The triangle A, triangle B, right, and triangle C. Wait, triangle C, right, like this. Okay, pretty straightforward, shifty. So A is this shaded part over here. Okay, and then B will be this part over here. All right. Okay, this part. Okay, I'm gonna. All right. Okay, and then C will be green ish. C will be this part over here. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get all of the different triangles, right? So area of triangle A is equal to half times 4 times 2 is equal to 4 centimeters square. Okay, right? I'm gonna copy this whole thing. Right, half of area of triangle B is equal to half times 3 times 2, which is 3 centimeters square. And then a area triangle C, right, is equal to half times 5 times 2, which is 5. Okay, so now with all of this to get the area of triangle ABC is equal to 20. Area of ABC is equal to 20 minus 5 times 5 minus 3 minus 4. Okay, in this case over here, and this will give us 8 centimeter square. Okay, actually, there's no shortcut lah, but either way, like this. Okay, so the answer is 8 centimeters square, right? So I was thinking we can just half time base for this lah, but not really. Okay, so the answer to this is 8 centimeter square. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 11. Table shows Ziming marks for 4 subjects. Part of the table is covered by an ink blot. Okay, like this. Let me draw the ink blot. Blah. I don't know. Okay, whatever. All right. So, Ziming average marks for the 4 subjects is 40. How many marks did he get for his science and mathematics? Oh, there's another ink blot as well. In this case over here, I think it's here. There's 2 ink blots. Okay, great. All right. So first thing is we want to get the total. So we know that the average of 4 subjects is 40 marks, right? So we want to get the total. Right, total of 4 subjects is 40 times 4 is equal to 160. Okay, so now we know that these two, science and mathematics. So basically, total science and mathematics, math lah, I just put math, equal to 160. Then we minus 35, oops, minus 35 and minus 45. So 160 minus 35 minus 45 is basically 160 minus 80, and this will give us, oops, minus 80, and this will give us 80. All right, so with this, what subject, what will be the number if you were to have, for example, right, science plus mathematics is equal to 80, right? So in this case, we have the 30 something plus the 7 equal to 80, right? So easiest way is if you minus 3, it will be uh in essence, if I were to say like 33 plus 47 equal to 80. Okay, right? So how we do that is basically, I think the easiest way is like 80 minus 30 lah. For example, 30 is equal to 50, right? So anyway, you can do guess and check. Generally, it's the easiest guess and check lah, right? But if you know that 7 plus 3 is 10, that means you know already 3 should be the last part of this for science, okay? And then mathematics is just this, okay? So that's why the answer look like this. So let me make it a little bit much, I would say, easier to see. All right, so science and mathematics is, I'll just put math, okay, simpler, right? So science is, we don't know, 3 teng, okay, plus teng 7 equal to 80, right? Something like this. I'm gonna put it like that. All right, okay, that. All right, okay, looks good. Now I'm just gonna put like this. So 33, sorry, plus 47, which is in this case, um, yeah, math 47. Yeah, there you go. All right, so science is 33, and then math is 47 in this case over here. So you can do guess and check, lah, right? So I would say guess and check in this, right? But if you can do guess and check really quickly, then yeah, there you go. You can grab it like that. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Question number 12, right? The total mass of Kelly and Tessa is 109.4 kilograms. The total mass of Kelly and Diane is 73.12 kilograms. Tessa is 3 times as heavy as Diane. What's the Diane mass? Okay, so this is what we call repeated identity concept, right? So how we know that is because we see two of the same name repeated twice. So we have Kelly again, we have Kelly again, right? All right, so let's draw this out. Basically, I'm just gonna say, yeah, Kelly and Tessa, right? So what I'm gonna do like this. Kelly and Tessa. And then we have Kelly and Diane. Okay. All right. So we know that both of these two, I would say, combination has Kelly. So I'm gonna write here Kelly, right? Kelly. Right. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna make Kelly very small. So Kelly are found in both of this situation. So since we know Kelly is both, then now we can read this. Tessa is 3 times as heavy as Diane. So what this means is that we know that Tessa is 3 times heavy. So that means Tessa is 1 unit. Oops. Okay, 1 unit over here. So Tessa is 3 times as heavy as Diane. Okay. So that means if you just do the arrow, we know that this is Tessa. And we know this is Diane. In this case over here, right? Okay. Now this hopefully makes a lot more sense. Once we know this, okay, the next part is we can actually put in the values. So the first value that we want to put is the Thomas, Kelly, and Tessa is 109 4 grams. So if you were to put the Kelly and Tessa, this is 109.4 kilograms. Okay. And then in this case, for the next part is the total mass of Kelly and Diane is 73.12 kilograms. Okay, so that means we're gonna put Kelly and Diane together as 73.12. 73.12. That's what I see. So now are you able to get basically this thing, which is the 2 units? Right? So once we are able to get 2 units, then we can get the last part, which is what is Diane's what they call it mass, which is basically 1 unit. Okay, so from here, what you can do is you can write this down. Basically, 2 units is equal to 109.4. I'll put 0 because we are minusing from a 2 decimal place. So it's easier for us, right? Okay, so what's 2 units? So let's do our workings. So 109.40, and then we minus 73.12. Okay, all right. Now let's put a line over 73.12. Okay, so let's zoom this in, make this a little bit bigger. That's what I see over here. Okay, so from here, oops, no. Okay, so 0 and 12, we cannot minus. So what we can do is, let me put here. Okay, so we can take 1 from 4, and this will be cancel, and this will become 3. So I see over here. Okay, so 10 minus 2, this will become 8. 3 minus 1 will become 2 point. And then after that, 9 minus 3 will become 6. And then 10, 10 minus 7, this will become 3. Okay, so the answer to this is 36.28. 36.28 kilograms. Okay, okay, then Diane is basically 1 unit. Oops. Right, so Diane is 1 unit. So 1 unit is equal to 36.28. Okay, divide by 2. Okay, so let's do the working for that. So let's do this and let's do this. Okay, so 36.28, right? So gonna box them up. We are 2. So in a way, we can minus 2 for 36, minus 2. So we will just put 1 here. Okay, and then this will give us 1. We cannot have 1 minus 2, so we bring down the next number, 16. So we minus 16 as well. Okay, so minus 16, right? And this gives us 8. 8 times 2 is 16 point. All right, and then we bring down the next number, which is 0.28, 0.2, right? 0.2, 0.2. So we can minus in a way 2 as well, right? 0.2, right? Minus, which is basically 1, right? 1, and then lastly we bring down 8, right? So let's bring down 8, right? Then we can actually minus 8. Okay, pretty straightforward. This one, let's put it here like this. Okay, so 1 is 8, then there you go, it becomes 0. Right, so in this case 8 is 4. This case, so let's double check. Okay, correct. So the answer is 18.14 kilograms. So since iron is 1 unit, the answer is 18.14 kilograms. Let's write it down, 18.14 kilograms in this case over here. All right, there we go. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 13. Question 13 says, Henry turned on a tap to fill a tank. He turned the tap at a 6-minute, so the water flowed into the tank at a faster rate. Okay, so he turned again at the 6 minute to make it way faster. The graph shows the volume of water that flowed into the tank. How much water flowed into the tank per minute after the 6 minute? Okay, so we don't really care about this part here. We just want to care about this part. Okay, so let me just break this here. So we want to care about this part, right? Okay, so from here, 6. So let's see from 6 to 8. So I want to see what's the number from 6 to 8. So I'm going to create a line from 6 over here. Okay, and then I'm going to create another line again to here. Okay, so we also want to know from 0 to 10 what it looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna fix this line over here. Okay, so we want to know how many gaps from 10 over here. So I'm gonna draw another line like this. Okay, so we're gonna let the spine be okay. So I'm just gonna zoom this in. So we're gonna have here. So for me, I'm thinking it's 5. Let's see if I'm correct here. So from 0 to 10, it should be 5 gaps. Okay, so we have 1 gap. All right, we have 2 gaps, 3 gaps, 4 gaps, and 5 gaps, which is great. Okay, so that means in this case we have 5 gaps equal to 10, then 1 gap is equal to 10, and then divide by 5, which is 2, right? Okay, so in this case from 10 to 20, so 20 is here, right? So it's 1 gap before 20, so that means this should be not 22, this is 28. Okay, so I'm gonna make this really small like this, 28. So that means at 6 over here, this is 28. I'm gonna put a bracket so at least it's easier to reference. Okay, 28 is 6. Okay, let's move on to number 8. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna create another line for number 8 point here, create another line from this point to this point. So same thing again, is one line before 30. So this should be not 28, but 38. Sorry, this is not 28. Oh my god, it's 18. Right, so this is 18, and then this is 28. Let's see if at minute 10 is also the same. Let's try 10. Go to this point. It looks like it. Okay, so we're from this point all the way here. All right, so I'm just gonna extend this lah. Okay, so 40 is here. The bolded one is here. So that means this is 38. Okay, and for line 12, okay, this is 38. So line 12, same thing, right? We're gonna extend this line all the way to the top, and it looks like this is just before 50, and that means this is 48. All right. Okay, so now we know all of the numbers. Okay, for each of the minutes of the 6. Okay, so wait, sorry, 48. No, 50. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so this should be 48. So that means how much water flowed into the tank per minute after 6 minutes. Okay, so what we're gonna do in this is that we also miss out one thing lah, because the question asks how much more water. So we also need to measure 2 and 4 as well. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm gonna create another line, but this time it's green so that we can see. right? How this is. So 4 over here is one gap after 10. So that means this is 12, right? So let me see 12. And then, yeah, for 2, they should be, in essence, um, let's see, this is 3 gaps, right? So this is 12. Okay, then we go here, it's 2, 4, and 6. Call this 6. Okay, so from here, 6. All right, so in this case, what we want to do is we want to know what's the rate before 6 minutes and before. Okay, so we're going to write down rate in 6 minutes in the first 6 minutes. Okay, so basically we have 18. All right, so the rate is basically the water level 18, and then we divide it by 6, right? Okay, so in this case, this should be equal to 18 by 6 is 3 liters per minute. Okay, so now we want to know the rate for after 6 minutes. Okay, so from 18 to 48, so rate after 6 minutes is equal to 48 minus 18. So 48 minus 18. Okay, and then we want to divide it by, so 12 minus 6. So I'm going to write here 12 minus 6. Okay, so 48 minus 18 is 30 liters, and then we divide it by 12 minus 6 is 6. So this will become 5 liters per minute. So the difference, how much water? All right, more water after 6 minutes is equal to 5 liters. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2 liters. Okay, so how much more water flowed is basically 2 liters per minute in this case over here. All right, there you go. That's it. All right, so why is it 2 liters? Because we want to know how much water flowed in the tank per minute. Okay, so it's not how much more water, it's how much more water per minute is flowed. That's why we say more water per minute after 6 minutes. In this case, it's just 2 liters, right, per minute. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 14. Okay, question 14, it says here, in the figure below, ABCD is a rectangle and ABE is a right angle triangles with sides measuring 6, 8, and also 10 centimeters. The perimeter of the shaded part is 38 centimeters. Okay, so what is the length of AD? Okay, so first thing is we can make use of the parameter. So we know the parameter itself. I'm going to highlight the parameter as maybe purple. So the parameter itself we know is 38 centimeters. Okay, so in this, oops, give me the line. 38 centimeters. So parameter is 30 centimeters, 38 centimeters. So what is the parameter of the shaded part? This part. So we have one part over here, and then this also comprises of this part, and then this part as well, and then this part as well. Okay, so next thing is we also know that this 10 centimeters over here is also the same as 10 centimeters over here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to write down. So AB is equal to DC, which means DC is also 10 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to write down here 10 centimeters. Okay, so in a way, pretty straightforward. So opposite side of rectangles are the same. So that's why we put AB equal to DC equal to 10 centimeters. Okay, now the next thing is we also know that we don't know B and C. So I'm going to put a question mark here, right? So basically, the whole parameter is 38 and it's including this AD and BC. So what we're going to do is basically the parameter 38 centimeter is equal to 10 plus 10 plus 8 plus 6 plus AD plus BC, right? So AD and BC is actually the same. So in a way, we can say, let's say, AD is equal to BC, right? So what we can do is, yeah, this is basically two breath lah, right? So we just times 2 AD, right? Okay, so with this, what we can do is we can say 2 AD is equal to everything here. So I'm just calculate everything here first. 38 centimeters, 10, 10. Okay, 38 equal 10, 10, 28, and 34. Right, 28 plus 6, 34. Correct. So that means in this case over here, 38 minus. Oh no, it's not minus 10. Okay, because we only include 110 over here, right? So not including this, so this 10. So in this case, 38 is equal to 10 plus 8 plus 6, which is 24, right? So 10, 8, 18, 24. Yes, 24 equal to, no, plus 2AD, right? That means 2AD is equal to 38 minus 24, which is equal to 14. Okay, and let's have a line. Oops. Let's have a line. So that means 2AD is equal to 14. AD is equal to 14, right? Divided by 2 is equal to 7 centimeters. So that's the answer for this. This is 7 centimeters. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What is the area of the shaded part? Okay, so in this case, we want to, the area of shaded part is basically the whole rectangle. So now we know this is 7 centimeters minus the triangle that we have over here. Okay, so first we want to get area of rectangle ABCD, right? ABCD is equal to 10 times 7, which is equal to, in this case, 10 times 7, 70 centimeter square. SQ square. In this case over here. No, 2. Okay. 7 centimeter square. So next thing is we want to get the right angle triangle area of triangle, which is ABE, right? ABE, which is basically half times. So which are the sides that you want? Okay, so the thing about right angle triangles is the lines that form the right angle. So which is in this case, oops, where's my highlighter? Where's my highlighter? Shift D. Okay, so which is this, oops, which is AE and also EB, right? So these are the two lines. So which is basically half times 8 times 6. So half times 8 times 6. So half times 6 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24 centimeter square in this case over here. So now to get the shaded area, we just minus. So shaded area is equal to 70 minus 24, which is in this case 46 centimeter square. Yes, sir. Okay, there you go. So the answer is 46 centimeter square. All right, let's go to question 15. All right, question 15. The table shows the charges for taxi fare. So the first kilometer is $4. Every additional 400 meters or less is 30 cents. And every 45 seconds of waiting or less is 30 cents as well. And then took a taxi from home to a mall. The taxi stopped once at a traffic light for 1 minute and travel a total of 2.2 kilometers to reach the mall. How much was his taxi fare? Okay, so let's get started with the first part of this statement, which is the taxi stopped once at a traffic light for 1 minute. Okay, so common mistake that you might do or students do is that thinking, oh, 45 seconds is equal to in this case 30 cents, right? Oops, 0.30 cents. So 1 second equal to something, right? So this is not the correct way, because for this, what we need to do is we need to make into different blocks. Okay, so in essence, how I would visualize it is basically you have like 1 minute of waiting, right? Wait. So 1 minute wait, we have different blocks for it. So in this case, for the 45 seconds, right? So 45 seconds. So 1 minute, or let me one sec. Okay, 45 second is basically 0.30 cents, right? And then since it since 45 seconds, 1 minute is essentially also 60 seconds, right? 60 seconds. Let me make it a little bit wider. Right, 1 minute, 60 seconds wider. That means what we are left with, the arrow. So what we are left with essentially is how many seconds? So 1 minute, which is 60, minus 45, which is equal to 15 seconds. Okay, so that means what we need to do is we actually need to add another block of 45 seconds waiting or less, right? So sadly, that is how we are being charged in the real world, right? So that means we need to have two blocks of this 45 seconds or less in this case over here, right? So that means, oops, okay, let me just put left over here. So that means we need to put in here for the weight, uh the weight the weight price price fare weight fare, I guess, is equal to 2 times 0.30, and this will equate to 0.60 cents, 0.60, right? So now next part is this, we've already settled the first part. The weight fare is 60 cents. Next part is we want to know how much it is in terms of traveling. So for traveling itself, I'm going to highlight in blue, is total of 2.2 kilometers. So the first kilometer is $4, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a rectangle, right? That is 2.2 kilometers, right? And then after that, we're going to add in another rectangle. So this is the first 1 km, right? And this costs us how much? Dollars for. Okay. All right. So, and then how many blocks of 0.4, 400 meters, right? So 400 meters is equal to $0.30. Okay. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Okay. So I'm going to put here. So 400 meters is equal to, in this case, is dollars, sorry, 30 cents as well. So $0.30. Okay. So what are we left with when we were to do this? 40 meters, 30 cents. So we are left with, all right, in this case, 2.2. So minus 1 is equal to 1.2. Okay, so we're left with 1.2 kilometers. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to divide, right? So how many blocks? Number of blocks is basically, I would say, it's 3 blocks, right? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Okay, so we just have 3 blocks to get 1.2 kilometers, right? Okay, so that is essentially it. So we just need to combine the total. So this is the travel fare. Yep, right. So weight fare, then is the travel, which is basically 4 plus 0.30 times 3. So 4 times 0.9 is dollars 4.90. Okay. So in this case, if we were to combine all together, so 4.9 plus 60. Okay. So in this case, total is equal to dollars 4.90 plus, okay, I'll only put dollars first, 0.60 equal to dollars 5.50. So that's the answer. Okay. Okay, this one is a bit tight, so I'm gonna move this a bit higher, and maybe this is a bit smaller. Okay, something like this, huh? Yes. Yep. Okay. Like this. Okay. So the total will be $5.50 in this case over here. Okay. So I'm gonna make this solid like this. Okay. Hopefully this makes sense to you. So the answer here is dollars 5.50 in this case over here. All right. So let's move on to the next question. Karen paid $7 for a taxi fare. She did not stop at all. What's the furthest distance? Okay. Similar to this. So this is instead $7, right? $7. And then we have 30 cents. Whoops. This and this. 30 cents for each block over here. So what we need to do is, in a sense, we need to divide. Okay. So here we have the first kilometer. So remaining is equal to 7 minus 4 is equal to dollars 3. Okay. And then 1, so 30 cents is equal to 400 meters. So number of 400-meter blocks is equal to dollars 3 or 3. And then we divide it by which, oops, this divided by 0 point, oops, 0.30. Okay. So basically, how do you get from 0.30 to 3? It's essentially just 10, right? So number of blocks 10. So that means total is equal to total distance is equal to, this case is 1 kilometer, 1 plus 10. So we also want to convert 400 meters into uh, kilometers. So 400 meters equal to 400, and then divided by 1000 equal to 0.4 kilometers. So total distance in km is here is 1 plus 10 times 0.4, which is basically 1 plus 4 equal to 5 kilometers. Okay, you can put meters as well, right? But yeah, either way, it should look something like this. Okay, something like this. All right, let's move on to the last question. All right, so question 16. The average amount of money that 6 boys had was $1 more than the average amount of money 4 girls had. After Mrs. Tan gave a total of $10 more to the girls now have the same total amount of money as the boys. So how much money did the 4 girls have altogether at first? All right, so that means on average, right? So this is the boys, and then these are the girls. Okay, so if I were to draw a model, right, the boys have this. Let's call this 1 unit, right? So let me make this a little bit like this. Oops. Okay, like this, right? 1 unit. Girls also have 1 unit. So this statement, what it says here, average money of the boy. So that means average is just one boy on average has more than $1 than the average amount of money 4 girls had. So this is what it means, right? Boys and girls is just 1 unit, but the difference is that they have this additional $1 in this case over here. So I'm gonna put here as a indicator that this is okay, this is $1, right? So this is $1, just to have a good indicator of what this looks like. Okay, so on average, this is what it looks like. Every boy has more than $1 than every girl. But we know that also we know the number of boys, which is 6 boys and 4 girls. So what does this mean? This means that there will be actually 4 boys. That's what you see over here. So 1, so 2. So we combine them like this, and then 2, 4. Then we just have one more. That's what you see over here. And then we have girls as well, which is 4 girls. So we're going to copy and paste. That's what you see over here. Okay, so this is what it looks like before. Okay, so now we have the first part done. Next part is after Mrs. Tan gave a total of 10 more dollars to the girls now have the same total amount of money as the boys. So what happened? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So that's the before, right? So I'm going to show you the after. Okay. So gonna say this is the before. What happens, right? I'm gonna put a rectangle just to say. Right. So the after, what this means is that if I were to rearrange this, so I'm gonna put this beside each other like this, right? So 1 unit. So now the goals will look something like this, right? 4 units. And I'm gonna arrange all the dollars to the right side and all the units to the left side. So it looks something like this. Then at the same time, we know that Mrs. Tan, right? Mrs. Tan gave a total of $10 more to the girls. And this makes the girls to have the same total amount of money as the boys. So that means Mrs. Tan in here gave an additional, right, $10. Okay, so I'm gonna put here $10. Okay, so from here, are you able to solve this? Right, you can, right? So what you can do is put in here 2 units, right, is equal to 10 minus 6, equal to $4, right? Why is it like this? Is because these 2 units over here is we just minus $6 and $10, we get $4, right? 2 units. Now with this, what we want to get is this last part. How many did the girls have at first, right? So this one not $4, this one, right? Basically is this whole thing. Because girls before has 4 units. So at first, right? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get 4 units. So essentially if 2 units equal to $4, 4 units is equal to 4 times 2 is equal to $8. And in this, the answer is $8. Alright, that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more of this kind of video, subscribe down below and comment down what other things or what paper you want me to go through next. See you in the next one. Bye bye.